everybody, welcome back to another Hazzard Fabworx YouTube. Today, a little different than the last one, we're going to talk about our 2008 Porsche Cayenne, all the modifications we've done, and all the stuff that makes it off-road worthy and a great daily driver. First thing I want to talk about is the suspension. That's what's really made this thing super fun for us. They're four-wheel independent, which is pretty cool because not a lot of off-road rigs are like that. Kind of gives us this feel now that it's built more like a side-by-side, like a Razor, where it's real forgiving and fun to handle in the dirt. But to get it there, it took a whole lot of work. So we've done long travel coilovers on it. It's a Bilstein 8100 coilover that was modified, obviously heavy modified. It does have limit straps on it. Control arm skids in the front, fabricated upper control arm in the front. The rear, they have this weird like 6-link design. The way the wheel travels is back in the wheel well. And so, but a lot of those bushings were this like a Cleveite rubber style, and it really doesn't allow for much wheel travel. And so what we ended up doing is changing a lot of that stuff out to a Heim joint, doing some skid plating, again a coilover in the back and a limit strap. And so what we end up getting is a lot of wheel travel for one of these, which isn't big wheel travel numbers in the big scheme of thing, but 8 or 10 inches of wheel travel, but it's safe. It does have a limit strap, so these like to pick tires a lot, so makes it pretty fun. I'm sure you'll see a little bit of footage of that. These things come with tiny tires because they're cars. Well, this has a 35-12-50 Nitto trail grappler with a KMC beadlock on it, which is a ton of tire for this vehicle. So a lot of work was done to open up the wheel wells and allow for full suspension cycle with minimal to no rubbing. So that's been really fun to do, along with all the body clearancing and stuff like that. Makes it work really good. One of the main things that makes this really capable off-road is obviously gears and lockers. Most people haven't really sorted out how to lock these. There's some stuff online, and with a buddy of mine, we're able to sort it out. So we end up using parts from 3 different vehicles, and we end up with a e-locker in the rear that's integrated into the factory dash and switch with a ECM and everything, which is really cool. And then in the front, we have a Eaton e-locker. So we have 456 gears, independent front suspension, lockers front and rear. Makes for a very capable car. And then from there, of course, once you have suspension, tires, lockers, now we got to have body protection. Now obviously we got to do bumpers, rock sliders, skids, stuff like that. So let's start in the front. So we did a one-off custom front bumper with kind of a front skid plate. We built this light bar and Project X lights. Love this thing. You cut a bunch of the front of the bumper off to give us a whole bunch more clearance and allow for a bigger tire. And the Project X lights are incredible. They're so freaking bright, brighter than any light I've ever seen. And the biggest thing with Project X that I like is the light goes about twice as far as I'm used to. So typically with other LED brands, you get a lot of light, but it's fairly close. These go so far down the road, it's amazing. So when you're using those lights when you're driving at night, typically freeway driving or off-roading, so it's great to have them go super far. I love that about these lights. We did a rock slider with a tube guard to protect the doors if you're leaning up against a tree. There's UHMW under them, so when you are in the rocks, they slide. In the rear, a huge bumper cut. We take off about 1 foot of the rear bumper. It's got a giant rear muffler that sits up underneath the bumper, so that's gone. We did a nice, clean, small, kind of low-profile bumper back there with a hitch, some toe points, and then obviously we have to finish out the exhaust. So from about halfway back, we have a stainless TIG welded pie cut exhaust with a Borla muffler on it. Sounds awesome. A cool tip on there, tucked up out of the way, but that gives us tons of protection, tons more clearance, and a great sound. We're going to do skid plates, so everything underneath the vehicle's got a skid plate now, from the engine, the tranny, the transfer case, both fuel tanks. It does have saddle tanks, and it's got a rear diff skid that isn't on it today because we're still in the process of building that, but it will be there before we run the Rubicon in 2 weeks. things on this. We did a Sherpa roof rack. I love that they make it specific for the Cayenne. I think it looks great, clean on there. Will come in real handy. We're gonna spend about 4 or 5 days on the Rubicon with 3 of us in here with my girl and son. Looking forward to that with all our gear stacked on top and on the inside. Love the fact that we have a roof rack on here. From there, of course, we got a refrigerator, a Blizzard box from Project X in the back. We did a stereo, but for the most part, the interior is pretty minimal. A little bit of storage, and obviously the refrigerator because you got to have cold drinks. Now you've seen everything about the Porsche Cayenne that we built. I love this thing. It's super fun to drive. You find yourself almost wanting to go wheeling with side-by-sides instead of Jeeps because it's so good on fast logging roads and stuff like that, yet it still does rock crawl pretty good. So we're looking forward to testing it out some more. You've seen some footage of it, some epic shots. Now in 2 weeks, we are taking it with a couple buddies. We are gonna go do the Rubicon Trail. I believe we're gonna be the first ones to ever take a Porsche through the Rubicon. So we're looking forward to that. There's gonna be some more footage from that to come. So can't wait to see you guys next time. Thanks for stopping by.